Things continue with Kane making his way through. The order of the Knights' headquarters, when he is greeted by Vice Captain Dayam, they greet each other, and the lad informs him that Magna advised him to leave some monster materials at the HQ Dime, is already aware of the arrangement, so he takes him to one of their storage rooms to unload the goods. But Kane politely informs him that the room isn't big enough. This shocks him as his face slowly turns to horror. He asks if the monsters are on the same caliber as the red dragon he has displayed in his mansion. Kane assures him that there is nothing on that level, but casually drops the bombshell that an earth dragon is among the monsters. This takes the vice captain by surprise. Because a party of a rank adventurers would struggle to defeat it, Kane is oblivious to those kinds of details. All he knows is that it's very big now that he understands the scope dime, allows him to unload them onto the courtyard so that the knight will process them later. He activates his item box, which releases the contents, the high level. Monsters begin to pile up, which causes Dime to scream. He's gobsmacked. Despite being warned, his amazement only continues to grow when he confirms that Kane defeated all the monsters alone. He plainly asks him if he's a hero or a disciple of the gods, and the latter question gets a slight reaction from the young guy. Kane downplays himself, stating that he's just the son of Garm and nothing more. Dime decides not to pry further, which the young noble appreciates. The vice captain tells him that he may take a while to appraise him since there are so many, but he has no problem with that. With that bit of business done, he quickly tries to leave. But the vice captain stops him and pleads with him to help him out with the upcoming knight's training camp. Would also like the young noble to meet their captain. The boss loves strong people, so he would love to show off what he can do, and he reluctantly agrees. Later on, the rest of the knights gather. As DM introduces Kane, he presents him as the young baron, who annihilated 30 orcs and saved the princess. The captain is not around yet, but DM assures him that the number one will be with him. Soon enough, they can expedite the captain's appearance by beginning the mock battles. Kane has an image in his head that they are going to be super intimidating. The vice captain informs his subordinates to comment on the mock battles, but they are a bit concerned since Kane is so young. Dime allows the one who voiced the concern to face the noble first. The knight even feels sorry for Kane and decides to grant him the first move. He takes the offer and boost. Towards him, Kane is so fast that the knight doesn't register the movement. Before it's too late, he stands there in shock. As he has been aggressively disarmed, the knight gives up after seeing the difference in their strength. Kane looks on, worried that he might have overdone it. He thanks them as he tries to leave, but DM stops him again. The vice captain is impressed with what he's just witnessed, so he stops him from leading given Kane's skill level. He suggests that he take on 30 knights for the next round as they charge. Towards him, their captain shouts from the top of a nearby building to hold their attacks. She flips down, wanting to know why an entire order of knights is pointing their swords at a young man. She scolds them for having no pride. The captain then turns to Kane and hugs him, asking if he's okay, and turns to Kane and hugs him, asking if he's okay. Tells him not to worry about the scary people around now that she's around. He's a little shocked by the hug, but the first thing he notices is that she's an elf. She then addresses Dime to be right in not stopping this injustice. The vice captain calmly explains that he's the famous hero who defeated the orcs and saved the princess. The captain is a little shocked to hear that he accomplished such a feat. Her vibe towards him completely changes after hearing this, and Kane tenses up when he senses it. She immediately draws her sword in excitement as she challenges him to a duel. Dime feels like it will be wise if she introduced herself. First, she disagrees, stating that they will speak with their swords. The rest of the knights already know their captain. Lust for fighting strong opponents, so they quietly excuse themselves as they leave. They doubt that Kane will be able to keep up since she holds the title of Master Swordsperson. Kane overhears them and starts to get a little intimidated. The captain signals for them to begin, but the hero points out that he's holding a wooden sword. She assures him that her sword is dull. They begin their exchange, and she already knows she's going to enjoy the fight. The two use their boost skill as they clash around the training ground at speeds that leave the knights in awe. They are surprised to see that Kane is keeping up with the captain and are left stumped when he swiftly evades her attack and wins the duel by a submission. She looks shocked at first, but quickly turns to affection when she processes the gap in their strength at that moment. She announces that she will wait until the future to marry him. All the knights let out a collective cry at her statement. Cain pushes her away because he doesn't know anything about her, so she officially introduces herself as Tijuana, who also holds the title of honorary viscount. She is the daughter of Duke Libert, who oversees the northern forest, although she is over 300 years old. She doesn't age one did, so she can't. Wait for Cain to reach her static age. Cain runs for cover behind Dayum, as he points out that a duke's daughter can't decide her marriage alone. Tijuana told her house people that she will not return till she finds her marriage partner, so they will be thrilled to hear the news. Cain informs her that from his side, it's not easy, as there are people that he must consult before doing anything he looks to die him for support. But the guy pretends to be sleeping. Tijuana agrees with his statement and orders her vice to bring Cain along as they visit the king to run it by him. The lad is worried now, as he's the last person that needs to hear about this. He already knows that he's in trouble, and he looks down too scared to make eye contact with the king, who has made time after hearing of the urgent business. Tijuana just comes straight out and informs the monarch of her intention to marry Cain. This announcement leaves both his father and the king speechless. They want to know how he possesses such high risk. Cain confesses that he defeated her in a mock battle. The king reminds him that he is engaged to Princess Celestia and Nisilk, but Cain was apprehensive about telling the captain, since it's not public knowledge yet. They reveal that Tijuana comes from the Liber territory, which was originally an elf nation because of their beauty. They were always dragged into wars by those who wanted to kidnap or enslave them, however. In the country of Escort, their first king, Yuya, made sure that there is no discrimination based on race, so the elves were more than happy for their land to be absorbed in four kingdom, so that they will be under their protection. However, the Liber territory is self-governed and differs little from any other independent nation. In other words, Tijuana is essentially a princess, and Cain has received a marriage proposal from her. This is a predicament, so the king informs Tijuana that Cain is already engaged to his daughter, as well as Duke Eric's daughter. This shocks Tijuana, but the revelation has made her one on him even more, since it means he's extraordinary. The king has no other option but to allow her to join the harem, but he orders her to write a letter to her father for permission. She acknowledges the order and excitedly takes Cain out with her so that they can fight some more. The king can't believe that he defeated their strongest knight. They discuss how Cain can be so strong at such a young age. The king looks to Garm to explain, and he too is not sure either. Diane points out his strange response. When he suspected him to be the disciple of the gods, the king feels like this means something is going on. Magna comes up with a way to test him, which is to show him a book later on. Cain meets up with Dime again in the corridors, and he's exhausted from the fighting that Tijuana is making him do. He does reveal that he has the title of Master Swordsperson added to his status after practicing with her all this well. The vice captain cuts his complaint short as he drags him back to the king, who wants an audience with him. He gets even more scared when everyone is gathered inside the room. The king explains that he summoned him because he wants to show him something. Magna Presence sent a book that has emperor-level magic text that has been passed down in the royal family. They inform him that it was the first King Yuya who wrote it. This gets Cain excited that he has the opportunity to examine such high-level magic, because in the Palace Mage's library, it only goes up to mega level. He begins to read the spells and is impressed. This confirms the king's suspicions, as he reveals to Cain that no one can read the book he's holding because it is written in the first king's language called Japanese. It all starts to make sense. Now, even just his name alone is very Japanese. Cain concludes that Yuya was reincarnated just like him. The monarch continues that they only know that it's emperor-level magic because that's the label given to it as it's been handed down. He asks Cain to officially identify himself. He's a little worried that he might lose everything if he spills the beans, but he stops his thought and confidently tells them that he will confess, but they must promise that it doesn't leave the room. He also informs them that he will leave the kingdom peacefully if they don't like what they hear. He begins by revealing that he still has his memories from his life. These are memories of a different land, which the first king also came from, called Japan. He apologizes for not telling. Then Garm worries if he's truly his son, but he assures him that there is no doubt about that. He discloses that the gods told him when he was baptized at age 5. Everyone Joel's astonished that he met the gods. He continues, revealing that he met all 7 of them, and he's still in frequent contact with them. They plea for him to hand in his stats. They cannot believe what they are seeing with the titles he holds. The king feels like, in addition to himself, every citizen of this world must bow to Cain. That is how high the title of God's chosen, is this comment. Scares Cain, so he pleads with the king that he likes his current life, and all the good people he has met being named a baron is an honor that is far greater than he deserves. He lets them know that in his previous life he lost all his family members and was alone, but in this one he is so loved so. They shouldn't take that away from him. He informs Garm that he is proud to be his son and apologizes to the king for hiding everything. Cain wants them to still treat him the same. After hearing everything, the king decides to recognize him as Garm's son. But he offers him the position of king, which shocks everyone. Their meeting comes to an unofficial end when Tijuana barges in with a letter from her father accepting her decision. She drags Cain away again. The adults feel like there is nothing to worry about. When it comes to Cain the king, only hopes that he protects the country and those he loves. Later on, he apologizes to Talestra and Silk for adding another one to the roster, but they are understanding their moment is ruined when Tijuana drags him away for another mock battle that brings the episode to an end.